Well, hello there. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. My name is Janine, and this is Janine Sews, and in this particular video, I'm going to be talking about spring wardrobe planning. My sister and I are taking a trip to London in May, and I want to sew a few new things that will be for my regular spring wardrobe and will also be good to take on this particular trip. So I will talk about fabrics, patterns, ideas for shapes and styles. And I also have a little bit of bonus content about a quilting project that I've worked on. If this is the first time you've watched my channel, welcome. It's great to meet you, and I hope to see you again. There are timestamps down below in the description box, so if you would like to skip forward to a different segment, or if you want to rewatch something, just click on the timestamp. And I've also included information on all of the patterns that I mention down below and any fabrics that I show you. Today I am wearing a t-shirt that I made early last spring. This is Butterick 6848, which used to be McCall's 6964. This is a recycled knit fabric, and the color is surf blue. This pattern is a little bit different because it has set-in sleeves for a t-shirt, and there's a little bit of gathering at the top of the sleeve, so it gives you kind of a little tiny bit of lift there. For my spring-summer wardrobe, I have spent a fair bit of time thinking about what I want to add. As I've been looking at styles online, on Instagram, YouTube videos, catalogs, what I see people wearing, I've been struck by a few garments, styles of garments and colors that I very much like and would like to add them into my wardrobe. I'm always looking for clothes that look nice on people who are my age-ish and my shape, which means that I often get a lot more inspiration from real life than I do from runway videos or Vogue or magazines like that. And some of these things that I'm going to mention, I have seen on real people many times. So I've taken inspiration from that. For my color palette, I'm a summer, so I don't wear a lot of black. Occasionally I wear black. I don't wear white. My basic dark color is navy, and my basic light color is an off-white. So those are the basis of my colors for this year. But I'll tell you, I've taken a great deal of inspiration this year from this shirt that I made a couple of months ago. This is a New Look shirt blouse, I guess it is. I'm going to link it up here because I did a video on this. And these colors work with so many things in my wardrobe, and I really like them. So these are the colors that I'm using as my primary inspiration. There is a pretty blue, like an indigo blue. The background is this off-white, which is quite pretty. There's a lot of pink, there's some green, a little bit of orange. So these are my inspiration colors for this season, probably spring and summer. In terms of garments and shapes that I want to add to the wardrobe, a utility jacket is pretty much top of the list. I have plenty of jackets. I would like to add one jacket that kind of has that shape that everybody seems to be wearing, but it's got a little bit of polish to it. So a utility jacket is high on my list. Also, Ponte pants, either straight cut, skinny, straight cut to the ankle, or boot cut to the ground, bottom of my shoes. Knit tops with some interesting detail or design feature to them. And more tops like this, woven blouses with poofy sleeves. And I will say also this V-neck. I've seen so many people, so many women over 40 wearing woven tops. Some are knit, but mostly woven tops with the V-neck and with the poofy sleeves. And they're not super long. They're not cropped, but they're also not really long. And they look nice on absolutely everyone. Because of course the V draws your eyes, draws the one gazing upon you, draws their eyes up to your face. And if you have hips or a stomach or a bust, the poofy sleeves kind of balance out your shoulders and your hips. I did not make any of this stuff up. This is what I have read that stylists have, well, I've seen stylists give this advice before. I think it's true. So those are the particular items that I'm planning to add. As I've seen printed patterns go on sale, big 4 printed patterns, I've been grabbing them. The first pattern is for a utility style jacket. This is not exactly like a utility jacket, but I think that this would work. This is Butterick 7008, which is a long lined bomber jacket. And there are 2 options. There's a collar or there's a band of ribbing. I would make this instead of a utility jacket. For t-shirts, my plan is to use one of my TNT t-shirt patterns, such as this particular pattern, or one of the cashmerette t-shirt patterns, the cashmerette Concord, and alter it to add some design features, like a band of eyelet in the sleeves, or make the sleeves puffy. Rather than going out and trying to find another t-shirt pattern, since I know that these patterns work, I will probably do that instead. I'll play around with those a little bit. Now for my Ponte pants, I have picked out a pattern already. It's the Fresh Press James knit pant pattern, and that pattern makes either straight cut or boot cut Ponte pants, and it has a zipper on the side. For woven tops, of course, this one is a primary inspiration. I also picked up a couple of other patterns that may work. The first is Butterick 6731, and this has a tie that can wrap around to the front or the back. Why I like this one is that wrap gives you a waist. I'm still searching for that elusive waist. Another alternative for a poofy sleeved woven shirt is New Look 6698. This one buttons all the way up to the top, but it has very poofy sleeves that have some pleating in them. You would want to use a really crisp cotton for this, although some of the ones they suggest wouldn't be that crisp. I think you'd kind of lose some of the poofiness. And of course, New Look 6707. When I made this top, I used Nancy Siemens Pivot and Slide. I kind of cheated on it, but I did use the Pivot and Slide. And in the video about that top, I mentioned that I'd be happy to show how I did that technique. So when I make the next version of this top in the next few weeks, I am going to record a video showing how I did the late, great Nancy Siemens Pivot and Slide to upsize this particular pattern by a couple of sizes. I'm going to use a combination of fabrics that were in my stash and newly purchased, purposely purchased fabrics for these pieces. If I make a utility jacket, I have to buy fabric for that. But I think I have stuff for everything else. For the James knit pants, I purchased some Ponte specifically for those. And this Ponte looks like denim. I don't remember what the fiber content is, but it's a bottom weight denim. So this is going into the wash tonight so I can work on those pants this weekend. For t-shirts, I have a piece of basic, pretty pink cotton jersey. that I'll use for one or more t-shirt. I already had it in my stash. That's what I plan to use it for. However, I also have this fabric that I picked up last summer, and the pink is right and the background color is right. I've got, I think, 3 meters of this, so I can certainly use this to try making a t-shirt with a little bit more interesting design. It's fairly drapey, so perhaps this could be a t-shirt that has a little bit of a tie on the shoulder or something. So this will be used, likely, for a knit top. Then for the second version of New Look 6707, I'm thinking of using this London Tana Lawn. I think the colors are right and will work with everything else. I've had this for several years. It's a little bit darker, but the blues are the pretty kind of almost indigo. The yellows are pretty bright. It's got some pink, some orange. And the Tana Lawn will be really nice for the poofy sleeves. So this is what I am going to use for a second version of that New Look pattern. The benefit is, if I use some of my Liberty fabric, it means that I have an excuse to go buy some more when I'm there. Now, I was shopping online at a friend's recommendation, and I went to the Fabric Godmother's site. Oh, they have really nice fabric. It's not inexpensive to have it shipped from the UK, but it was different from stuff I've seen here. So I bought a couple of pieces of fabric, and this was purchased last month, with the intention of using it for a woven top. It's much drapier than the Liberty fabric. I don't remember the fabric content. I'll put it down below, but this would be a nice woven top. Perhaps one of the tops with the ties at the waist, because it wouldn't be too bulky. And the colors are great. I think they work with my plans. So this will likely be a second woven top. So I'm going to take more woven tops, and I'm wearing more woven tops these days. Just kind of like the way they stand away from my body. So those are the 4 pieces that I have for my current plans. As I mentioned at the beginning, I have a little bit of quilting content for you. I am not a quilter. I'm a garment sewer. But while I was away, I didn't have all of my usual tools and notions with me. I had a sewing machine and a few basic notions. And I received a couple of boxes from Mrs. Quilty. So I thought this was a really good time to try some quilting. Mrs. Quilty is a subscription quilt box company. So I received 2 boxes, box 1 and box 3. This is box 1, and in the box there's a nice magazine, nice quality magazine. And this one, because it's book 1, it has a lot of information about quilting basics, easy to follow, nice pictures, and then it has all of the instructions for several different quilting projects. You also receive a stack of fabric, and I'm going to pop up a picture of the fabric here because I've already cut it. This is what I have left of my fabric. Nice quality. Everything coordinates together beautifully. And you receive some notions in each box. And in box 1, I received, I guess this is a quilting grid ruler, and some thread wraps. Funny thing is, I have a bunch of thread wraps. I had no idea what they were for. Now I know. So I went through the book and I did 2 projects from this one. As I said, I've never quilted. I've never pieced anything. I don't know anything about it. I don't know any of the terminology. So the information in the booklet was very good. And there were also YouTube videos that I followed along with to learn how to do some of these basic techniques. The first thing I made is a quilt block, my first ever quilt block. It is not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. The second project I made from this book was this pot holder. Again, not perfect, partially because I did not have a ruler with me, so I couldn't necessarily get straight lines. But I made this little pot holder, and I actually learned how to miter corners with bias tape, which is helpful even in garment sewing. The second box that I received is box 3. Again, the same box. Different magazine with different, a little bit more, slightly more challenging projects. Fabric is different colorways, all again very pretty and beautifully coordinated. And from this, I have made one project so far, and that is this floral coaster. And this is apparently a Dresden block, one of the things I learned. Now, this is far from perfect because, as I said, I had no ruler. But I learned how to make these little flower petals, and again, more practice doing bias binding. I had to make 18 petals for this, which seemed quite challenging when I started. But I actually found that I kind of enjoyed it. It was very satisfying. And the way the instructions were laid out, it was easy to follow, and it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. Now, because I liked this, but it wasn't straight, it's kind of wonky, I made another one when I got home, and I had a big ruler and I could get things a little bit straighter. So this is the same coaster using fabric from box 1. If you're a little curious about quilting, like me, you know nothing about it, in the description box below there is a link and there's a discount code from me that you can use to get 20% off your first Mrs. Quilty box. I'm going to do a little bit more of this. It was kind of fun. Now that you've seen the inspiration, colors, patterns, fabrics, ideas, if there's something that jumps out at you, friend, I hope you'll make a note in the comments below. Ideas, suggestions. If you think I'm crazy about some of the things I've picked out, write it down because I would love to hear your impressions. We leave in, I think it's under 5 weeks. I would like to make 4 things in those 5 weeks. Plus, my sister asked me to make her a tunic. So I'll be spending a fair bit of time in the sewing room. Honestly, after being away for almost 3 months, I am excited to be back, not just sewing, but also spending time with all of you because I've missed you. And I'm happy to get back into a routine and hear all about what's going on in your world. If you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe and the notification button, and then you'll know when I post the next video, where I better have at least one thing done. Thank you again for watching. I hope everything is great in your world, and I'll see you soon.